This video is brought to you by my loyal patrons. Pledge today and receive exclusive perks. Link in the description. Many people know StoryBots through its many series and specials that are currently streaming on Netflix. Ask the StoryBots and StoryBots Answer Time being the two most popular examples. But did you know that StoryBots did not initially start off its life on a streaming service? Any longtime fan will know that StoryBots started off in a little company called Created by the two Spirit brothers, StoryBots came into fruition in the year 2012. Their first project was a series of music videos about the letters of the alphabet, accompanied with multiple animators to give it its own unique personality. The videos were successful, so they made another, and then another, and another, and another, and another, and another. These music videos would serve as the vessel for the StoryBots franchise before it evolved into its string of television series in 2016. During the time of its release, there were two ways of watching these music videos. One, of course, was through their StoryBots YouTube channel, then renamed and rebranded to Netflix Junior. The second way of watching it was honestly quite the interesting experience, and is one that you can no longer view as of right now. This was an experiment by the brothers themselves, to see how well their product would perform in the educational market, and a way to educate their own kids in a meaningful and funny way. With it, they made a bunch of apps, games, fun activities, and a little website with a bunch of interactive features called StoryBots Classroom. Ah yes, StoryBots Classroom. That one website that was once at the peak of children's entertainment, that has now fallen into the realms of obscurity, and no one has ever solved the mystery on how it was forgotten about, until now. Earlier this year, in my New Year's video, I made a poll asking all of you which of the 5 videos that I have planned for this year you'd like to see first. I was initially expecting most people to choose the Lost Media video or the character analysis video, as those seem like pretty heavy topics to talk about. But to my bewilderment, you guys spoke otherwise, as the winner of the poll, surprisingly, is the Classroom video. At first I was a bit confused at the result, but upon further research on the topic, I can now sort of understand why some of you wanted to see this video so badly. StoryBots Classroom, and all the apps in general, are really an enigma. No one had a clue what it was nowadays. Its existence was very short-lived, and strangely, no one has ever found an exact reason on why the website and the apps were taken down. It's a very bizarre feeling too. It's like everyone just forgot about what Classroom was in its entirety, and that they'll never learn about the true story behind this legendary website. But that's why I'm here, to give you all a full in-depth look on this historic website, and to hopefully answer most of your elusive questions you may have about the Classroom. After 5 years of being dormant, we finally have our answer. And just a little heads up before we start, I'd just like to point out that finding all these sources for this video was a nightmare. As we are talking about defunct apps and websites, the stuff in the website nowadays is pretty scarce, meaning everything that was once there is now lost to time. Thankfully, most of the assets have been recovered. Many of the sources that I'll be using in this video will be from both Greg Mako's portfolio and a huge Google Drive of screenshots and videos saved by my good old friend, Gluestick Things, also known as Mad. More about her and her archive page at the end of the video. With all that out of the way, class is now in session. Grab your pencils and notebooks, everyone, as we take some notes on what came and went with StoryBots Classroom. We'll of course start at the very beginning. StoryBots Classroom and its apps have a really fascinating story to tell. After the successful run of political satire jokes on JibJab, the brothers were then tasked with another ambiguous challenge. They noticed that their 5 kids were consuming media through their iPads constantly, and the quality of the videos and apps that they were watching was quite staggering. Many of the apps, for the most part, are pretty low quality and sort of dumb down their brains when consuming content, rather than just treating them with a level of intelligence like they should have. And the abundance of advertisements that would play during these apps doesn't exactly help either, which could also be an attributing factor of them taking away their attention span and possibly affecting their social skills as well. It was pretty clear to the brothers from day one that this was something they didn't want their kids to fall subject to, and this is very evident in their many interviews and parental guide videos.
In our own living rooms, we see this massive shift in how kids are consuming media, and so we were inspired. We said, if Sesame Street were created today in this world of connected devices, what could it be? And that was kind of the spark, the inspiration for StoryBots.
With StoryBots, safety is a top priority. Our apps are 100% ad-free. There's no external links, no additional in-app purchases.
One price unlocks everything.
For us as parents, we realized a couple of things. One is that repeat in-app purchases, advertising, all of these things we wanted to remove from our products. So that was really important to us. And the other thing is, as busy parents, you want a universe of things. You don't want to have to shop for all of these apps all the time. So our mission is to really create a portfolio of apps for parents, and one price unlocks the whole world, and you're all done with kind of the commerce piece of it. You can feel good that your kid's learning and playing in a safe place.
We wanted our kids to have fun learning on these amazing devices and to build things that were fun for us too as parents.
I think there are going to be screens everywhere, and so what we're thinking about with StoryBots is not so much whether it's the phone or the tablet, or what's the context of the experience. So obviously, if the kid is in the back seat of the car, there's content that we're producing specifically for that will appear on a smartphone. And then again, around in bed at night with your kids reading starring you books, the tablet is a perfect experience. So I think screens everywhere, and we think about it more creatively from the context of the user experience than the specific device.
At the end of the day, StoryBots is about making things that we feel awesome about giving to our own kids.
And building things that make families happier.
That's our mission.
So it was settled. The brothers would go on a quest to create the perfect website and apps for their kids. And their first app that they made was a little behavior checker called Beep and Boop, named after the first two characters of the franchise. This was made during a time when StoryBots was really being pushed out to the digital market, and the news of its existence was spreading like wildfire, getting the attention of popular news outlets like CNN, the New York Times, and even CNBC. So for their first prototypical app, they kept it very simple. It was a behavior checker that allowed parents to monitor their own kids' actions and give them rewards for being good. If they act nicely, they get a beep. If they act naughtily, they get a boop. Simple as that. A demonstration was shown during one of their many conventions, looking for potential buyers.
So you can put your kids into the system, and when they do something good, like eat a healthy meal, you pick your child and you say, wow, great job eating a good meal. They get a beep, and then it keeps track of their beeps. Now, if they're not behaving well, you have to let them know. If you don't stop, you could get a boop. And kids do not like the dreaded boop. And you can see each boop takes away a beep, and you can set a goal. So when Alexander gets 15 beeps, he's gonna get the Storm Pegasus. It will change your life, I promise. I invented it for my kids to prevent my wife from leaving me because our kids were driving us nuts.
The app was also showcased for the University of Southern California at Silicon Beach. They even used their own kids as examples here, which I honestly find pretty hilarious.
That is my son. I don't know if you can really see his face. That is the excitement for getting a $4 toy from Amazon Prime after he hit his beep goal the first time. So it doesn't take a lot to make kids happy. And when was the last time you were that happy? How much money would it take to buy something that would make, I don't know if anything would make me that happy.
When the brothers released the app to the public, it was an instant success. As in just their first week of release, it already reached 100,000 beeps and boosts from the app itself, a major milestone for the company, and they even received a Family Choice Award in the following year. With their initial success, the brothers sought out to create more apps and games for their kids, and what followed suit were more games and activities, starring new books and music videos, and a full-on educational website for teachers and parents alike. How does it all hold up nowadays? Well, let's get into that. Alright, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of StoryBots Classroom. This is the part of the video where I talk about everything that StoryBots Classroom and its apps have to offer. We'll go over all the aspects, the goods, the not-so-goods, and then give you my overall thoughts on the whole experience. And I'd like to stress this before we start, that this will probably take up a good majority of the video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this long and extensive breakdown. We'll be splitting this up into two sections. One will talk about the website, and the other will talk about the apps and games. Let's cover the website first. StoryBots Classroom was launched in the year 2016. Around the same time, they released their first season of their television series, Ask the StoryBots, as well as their coinciding companion show, StoryBots Super Songs. The website was created by Greg Mako, a former senior graphic designer who's worked for StoryBots from 2016 to 2019. He would be the guy responsible for most of the assets used in the Classroom website, and you can still view a good chunk of them in his public portfolio. Links to that will be down below. Within it lies a sitemap to help navigate the website from both the teacher's perspective and the parent's perspective, though both of them are relatively alike, so we'll keep it simple. Creating an account is pretty straightforward, as per any website. Add your email, password, profile picture, credit card details, etc. You all know the gist. Once your account is made, you are given the option between 3 payment plans for your subscription. You can pay monthly at $4.99, you can go with a 6-month plan at $14.99, or you can pay annually at $19.99. If it were my pick though, I would go with the annual plan, because logically speaking, that plan saves you the most money. And in a world where we're constantly spending money on needless activities and such in our gross economy, it'd be the best financially if you chose this plan. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. Heh, get it? 2 cents? Savvy! Once you've chosen your subscription plan, you can now set up your virtual classroom. With it, you can customize your students' background information, as well as your own, adding things such as inspirational quotes, little fun facts about yourself, goals and achievements you want to reach, and even your own personalities, like if you're an introvert or extrovert, or if you're more analytical or creative, or if you're a conservative or a lib. Whoa, hold on a second. You can show your political views on a children's website? Isn't that like kind of inappropriate for their target audience? Like, I know Jib Jab was like all into political satire back then, but Jesus Christ, this is a bit much for a young audience, don't you think? I guess StoryBots really were political before Answer Time, huh? Moving on. When you have your classroom all set up, you can now choose from a variety of different subjects you like to teach your kids. From top to bottom, the subjects include addition, alphabet, animals, behaviors, body, classic songs, colors, comparisons, counting, dinosaurs, emotions, geometry, great innovators, holidays, measurement, money, numbers, outer space, professions, shapes, starring you books, starring you videos, subitizing, subtraction, time, veggie boogie, and vehicles. Most of these subjects cover music videos that we've heard before, so we'll just cross those out for simplicity's sake. What we're left with is pretty interesting. Now, the starring you books and music videos will be covered more in the apps and games section, but the other subjects on the list I think are worthy of some discussion. Many of them revolve around activities you can do on the website. Addition, subtraction, counting, geometry, comparisons, measurement, I think there's a typo there. Whoops. But there was one subject on this list that really caught my attention, and that's money. At first I thought there would be an activity for it like all the other subjects, but there wasn't, which led my little brain to inquire, what was the purpose of there being a subject about money? It then clicked into my head that this actually did have a dedicated music video to it, but as far as I know, the only way you can view it now is through their Netflix series, Ask the StoryBots. In the Season 3 episode, Where Does Chocolate Come From?, in one of their many segments, includes a music video called Money Rap. It essentially teaches kids on the history on how money was created, and all the different types of currencies used around the world. Note how that music video uses the exact same animation style as seen in the letter L song and the letter Z song, the same characters and all. So I'm assuming that this music video was made during the same time as the other letter songs, back in 2012. But that's just speculation. Though I wouldn't be surprised if that was really the case. Still an interesting novelty nonetheless. Once you're finished with all the subjects, you're pretty much good to go. All the apps and games will become available, and all the features and accessibilities on the classroom will also be available. So let's go over some of them. We'll start with the books. In the classroom website, there are 2 types of books you can give to your kids. Learning books offer little stories based on the existing music videos and provide a page-by-page narration for easy-to-read learning, and starring you books put your own kids into their own silly stories to give them a very personalized experience. Again, more about that in the apps and games section. For the videos, they're pretty self-explanatory. They are just the same music videos we all know and love, the only difference being their accessibility on Classroom. Nice. And of course there are the starring you music videos, that puts your character into the music videos themselves and interacting with all the StoryBots in the process. But again, more about that in a bit. Then we have the math games. They are also pretty self-explanatory. They consist of short answer math questions and have little animations in them to keep the kids engaged. The subjects I mentioned before are very present here, and they do a good job at teaching the kids on what they need to learn. Simple, yet effective. Alright, time for the good stuff. The printables. These are little paper activities given to the kids for offline practice and for those learning at home. And boy oh boy, is there a lot of printable stuff. We have activities such as connect the dots, word finds, letter tracings, mazes, and a bunch of coloring books. These can range from simple alphabet books to holiday-themed books, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, and even St. Patrick's Day. Heh, how fitting. Now these were an absolute treat to receive as a kid, and they still are. Just perusing over these activities really stimulates my content-seeking eyes. Even with the worksheets, which most kids could agree was the most boring thing to do at school, they brightened it up by including some little StoryBots drawings and giving some life into them. And I really enjoyed that stuff. I only wish they kept these activities active because it's quite a rarity to see stuff like this nowadays in classrooms. This is without a doubt one of the best features that StoryBots Classroom has to offer, and I hope this inspires more teachers to liven their environment up a bit with these colorful robots. One change could make such a difference. Finally, we have the episodes, and this is probably the most convenient feature for parents and teachers. This includes all the episodes from Ask the StoryBots and StoryBots Super Songs, as well as the feature-length special, A StoryBots Christmas. If you didn't have a Netflix account, then StoryBots Classroom's got you covered, as they have all the episodes in StoryBots' lineup, making it extremely easy to watch StoryBots content with the kids. And at just $20 a month, with all the features I mentioned before, that's an extremely incredible deal, and that's a good thing, especially considering Netflix's current prices. Nevertheless, it was still a great feature to have all these episodes featured on the website, complete with these cool looking UI designs. Still wish they could have kept it though. And that's pretty much it. Now there are little things like the occasional scavenger hunts, but they're just more activities that are built on the previous features that I mentioned before, so we're gonna skip them. But for a website that contained all these features at an incredible price, I honestly think it was worth every penny back then, and it was totally deserved, as a lot of parents and teachers have given lots of positive feedback for the website, saying things such as, "StoryBots makes my job as a teacher so much easier, and it doesn't hurt that I enjoy it as well. I know when StoryBots comes on, every single student is going to pay attention. My students love seeing themselves in the StoryBots stories, but also, their classmates love to see them in the stories. They feel like they're in the movies. And there's nothing like StoryBots, because it allows students to become part of the program." Now that is true motivation. And with their strong feedback came a bunch of awards, as many accolades have claimed this to be one of the best websites for children's entertainment, getting awards from the Parents' Choice Awards, the Family Choice Awards, Common Sense Media, the Interactive Media Awards, and even receiving a Daytime Emmy. Who would have thought? Alright, now for the apps and games. I've already talked about the Beep and Boop app, so let's go through the others, starting with Share Timer. This was a timer app designed to keep track of children's playtime when playing with toys. If you had multiple kids trying to play with the same toy, then this app will be a real time saver. Literally. You can set times for how long your kid can play with certain toys to ensure equal and fair play for everyone. A very useful app for parents who have kids who really need to know how to take turns. Starring You videos. Now this was the main selling point for the Jib Jab company. The idea of putting your own kids into these books and music videos was pretty revolutionary for them, and setting the whole thing up is very simple. You take a picture of your kid's face, and you can put it in various different forms of content. You can put them in silly stories that revolve around your kid doing crazy scenarios, or you can put them in the many music videos from their catalog. It really puts the sensation of your kids actually being in the videos and starring them like they're in the movies. With its simplistic yet effective nature, this app became very popular amongst kids and parents, and it's rightfully deserved, as it got so popular that it got the attention of both NBC's Today's Show and Fox 5's Good Day 5 to promote the app, which I think is pretty epic. Coin Flip. I don't really have much to say about this app. If you have a decision to make, you can flip the coin, and it's always going to be a 50-50. The only novelty from this is that, like the other apps, you can put your kids' faces on the two sides of the coin. But that's literally it. It's just a coin flipper. Nothing else. Not saying that this is a bad app by any means, but that there are just better alternatives out there. You could just Google search a coin flip on your web browser, or better yet, use an actual coin. Add some real authenticity, you know? This honestly feels like needless filler, and I don't really see a need to come back to this app anytime sooner. ABC Videos. This, well, just features the alphabet songs that we already know before. No real difference here aside from it being inside an app this time. Pretty useful for traveling on the go though. Math Racer. Okay, here's a fun one. This app turns simple math questions into a fun interactive video game. It's a race to the finish line as you try to solve math problems as fast as possible, covering stuff like addition and subtraction along the way. And while entirely speculatory, I'd imagine there being an online leaderboard from kids around the world, giving more kids an incentive to get a high score. I like this app, and it really shows how mesmerizing these games are for young kids. Hell, I'd even play it just for the visual novelty of it. Really fun app, this one. Kids Radio. This app features all the StoryBots songs in their current catalog, but just like the Coin Flip app, there's really no point for this app existing, as there are already many ways you can listen to their music, like through YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, etc. And that in a way makes this app kinda pointless. Again, not a bad app per se, it just feels like needless filler to me. Learning videos. This app features a selection of reading books based off of the many videos from the StoryBots lineup. Turning pages is as easy as a tap on the screen, as well as onboard narration for easy-to-read learning.
What's this letter? Can you say? You're right, of course. It's letter A.
Now, funnily enough, these books actually have an interesting history behind them, because just a decade later after their release, Netflix decided to release these books exclusively on their Netflix Junior channel, with a notable higher quality and added music. And this right here is currently the only piece of media that was archived by Netflix themselves. Pretty interesting to see how these books ended up being featured on a public YouTube channel. What are the odds, am I right? Memory Match. This app is another video game, but this time with matching cards. It's as simple can get. Find all the matches behind the selection of cards, and finish it as fast as possible. Just like the Math Racer, I believe there was also an online leaderboard that showed other scores across the globe. But again, that's just speculation. Kid Quoter. Now for this app, not really much is known about what it is exactly. From what we can deduce from the description and a single screenshot that we have of it, it appears to be a collage of quotes said by kids like when they tell a funny joke, so you can keep it for lots of memories to come. But at the moment, it's all just pure speculation. This next app that we have, I intentionally saved for last, because it really holds a special place in my heart. Not just because I think this is the best app ever, but also because it inspired me to become who I am as a person. And it's one I so wish that it was still around today. And that app is Tap and Sing. This app was something else. At its core, this was a simple piano app that taught kids how to make their own music, replacing the keys with StoryBots for an entertaining approach. On the surface, it may sound like a simple piano app for kids, and it is. But for me, it was something completely different. I remember this app fondly. A close friend of mine showed me this app at their house, and I was immediately intrigued. I already knew what StoryBots was thanks to my early elementary years, so seeing this app really sparked my curiosity at the time. I couldn't even describe the initial thoughts I had when I first got my hands on this piano. It was so magical to me. I was already so attached to these music videos before because they were just so damn catchy. And what a better way to showcase these songs than to have an app where you can play those songs and make new songs. This app, this one single app, is what inspired me to become a professional musician. After 10 years of experience, performing in orchestras, jazz bands, plays, and going as far as Disney World. This is where it all started. It's honestly crazy to think about how my whole music career started off on a simple piano app. It may sound weird and a bit childish to some people, but for me, this was a game changer. They always say that inspiration can come from the most unlikely of places. And this is mine. StoryBots Tap and Sing was my inspiration. And if only the app was still around, I'd love to see it inspire more people just like me, for both music prodigies and musicians. This is definitively the best app that StoryBots has ever made. I'd honestly love to see anyone prove me otherwise. Now that we've gone through all of StoryBots Classroom and its apps, I think it's now time to answer the question that you guys have been wondering about for years, and that is, what exactly happened to StoryBots Classroom? The website and the apps were at the peak of their popularity, constantly receiving awards from various accolades. And just as they were about to make a name for themselves, it all vanished, and no one really understood how or why that happened. However, if you connect all the puzzle pieces together, it'll become very clear on what exactly transpired that very day. According to a database, the apps were removed somewhere in the year 2019, and if you recall in StoryBots' history, something also happened that same year that drastically affected the franchise moving forward. Yeah, that. In May of 2019, Netflix acquired the full rights to the StoryBots franchise, meaning all assets, characters, and IP were under their name. But there was a problem. The website and the apps were originally run by JibJab, and since JibJab no longer had the rights to the StoryBots franchise, without hesitation, they removed everything. So all the games, apps, videos, and features on the website were completely erased. This was a huge loss for the company, and many teachers and parents were outraged by the fact that their website they've been using for years now is no longer available. I personally would be in their shoes too. I will never for the life of me understand why Netflix saw the need to remove the website when they could have just acquired the website and kept the profits. I also find it pretty ironic when Netflix claims that they will expand the StoryBots world and franchise, and the first thing that they do is remove their main website and apps, the thing that's been making them mass profit since 2012. Why? That's just stupid! This also brings up another question. What happened to the subscribers? I.e., the people who already had plans on the website before the shutdown. Did they get refunds? Did they get a complimentary gift? Did they get nothing at all? I would assume they were able to get refunds, otherwise that's a bit scummy on Netflix's end. That would be very distasteful if that was really the case. Overall, I'm not too happy about how the website came to ruin, and I think I'm with a good majority of the fans that StoryBots Classroom and its apps deserved a lot better. A very sour end to what was once an incredible experience. Shame on Netflix. So what do I think about the classroom experience? Overall, I find it to be a very interesting one. The games are exciting for everyone, and the worksheets are a blast to read through, and it just feels like you're gonna have a good time, for both the kids and the adults. Though it definitely has its flaws, most of which are pointless apps that don't really do much, but aside from that, it's near perfection. And it really shows how much care and passion the brothers wanted to put in for their kids to give them the best experience possible. And I totally see it. This whole thing really does feel like it was made for everyone, and that's what I can appreciate about them. You know, perusing through all this stuff felt very enchanting to me, and the fact that no one has ever done this before makes it even more gratifying. While I am a bit dissatisfied with what Netflix has done with the website, I'm still hopeful that they'll seek a second opinion. It's never too late to bring back something fans love most. I think bringing back the classroom now would be a step in the right direction, and be very beneficial for Netflix in general. And as long as fans can make their stance on the internet, like this video, then maybe, just maybe, our dreams will finally come true. But regardless if that happens or not, I think we can all agree on one thing. That StoryBots Classroom was an experience like no other. It was purely made for the entertainment of Evan and Greg's own children, and that they wanted to make an educational app that was enjoyable and fun. They didn't try to play down to their intelligence or try to look impressive in front of everyone. It was just fun. Fun as fun could ever be. And that alone is what really does it for me, and why I firmly believe that StoryBots Classroom is an amazing website. It's a gratifying experience that won't be forgotten. Seriously though, how the fuck did they not bring back Tap and Sing yet? Starting from this video onwards, I'm gonna start doing something at the end of major videos. This is a little segment I like to call Creator Spotlights. Basically, this is a moment where I shout out 3 people at random that I think deserve some love. The videos I choose to highlight could be, well, anything really. It could be semi-related to the video, it could be something cool from a fellow StoryBots fan, or it could be someone I think just needs some recognition. It could literally be anything. For my first shout out, I'm gonna give it to Glue Stick Things. As well as providing me with a huge Google Drive of archived materials for the classroom video, Mad has also made 2 videos covering her own redesigns of the characters in the Garden of Banban series. And I gotta say, her redesigns look pretty damn good. I'm not usually one for the horror franchises and such, but I do like the creative look for these characters, making them not scary-like, which I really do appreciate. If you're a fan of Garden of Banban or just redesign videos in general, then I highly recommend giving these 2 a watch. Links to both videos and her archive page will be down in the description. For my second shoutout, I'm going to give it to another good friend of mine, Robo Doggies. Robo was actually responsible for creating my updated profile picture very recently, and he did a fantastic job of recreating it. Kudos to you. Robo, as well as Mad, have also done a collab animatic based off of the Investigators book series by John Patrick Green. And funnily enough, the author himself got a kick out of this video. Good stuff. If you like Investigators and animatics, then this video is for you. For my last shoutout, I'm going to give it to someone who's made a very special video. Artsy Doggy. Artsy recently made their own take on the Space Adventure review, going for a more comedic review, and I really enjoyed it. That opening scene before the review was really well made, and yes, I do think it's better than the actual special. I even had the pleasure of voicing in that review as well, which I think is pretty epic. Pomegranates.
What?
Highly recommend you watch this masterpiece. It's one you just gotta see for yourself. It's that amazing. Well done, Artsy. And before I end this video, I just have one little update for y'all. The next big video that I have planned is the first installment of the StoryBots retrospective. Scripts are currently in the works and should set to be released this June in time for StoryBots' 12th anniversary. The other videos like the Lost Media video and the character analysis video will come shortly after that. More details about those projects will be coming very soon, so please stay tuned. Well, that's all from me, folks. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. I really had a blast making this one. Have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.